All right, everyone, settle in. Today, we're heading deep into the forests of Asia and Africa to meet one of the planet's most mysterious and, honestly, misunderstood animals.
It sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? But the answer is a real living creature, and trust me, it's one of the most unique mammals out there. So here it is, meet the chevrotain. It's the world's smallest hoofed mammal, and it's a perfect example of why you really can't judge an animal by its name. Okay, first things first, we have to talk about that very confusing name, mouse deer. It's a classic case of mistaken identity, so let's get this cleared up right away. This chart here really lays it all out. You can see they're in a league of their own. I mean, they're definitely not rodents like mice, and they're not true deer from the family Cervidae either. Nope. Chevrotains belong to their very own ancient family, Tragulidae. Now, they do share a couple of things with deer. They've got hooves and a ruminant, that's a multi-chambered stomach, which is awesome for digesting tough plants. But here's the kicker. Instead of antlers, the males have fangs. You know, the actual name, chevrotain, gives us a much better clue than mouse deer. It comes from an old French word that basically means a little goat or fawn. So yeah, think less mouse and way more miniature ancient deer goat. Okay, now for the cool part. Let's open up their survival kit. We're going to see exactly how these animals are perfectly equipped for where they live. Because in evolution, remember, nothing is an accident. Every single feature has a purpose. So right away, you notice they're missing that one thing, that iconic feature we associate with most deer-like animals, right? And there's a very good reason for that. I mean, think about it. For an animal this tiny, trying to zip through thick jungle foliage, can you imagine having big, branching antlers? It would be a total liability. You'd be getting snagged on everything. Plus, antlers are usually for showing off from a distance. But chevrotains, they're shy, they're solitary, they rely on stealth, not some big, flashy display. So instead of antlers, evolution gave them a different tool, something much, much better suited for close encounters. And here it is. This picture just illustrates it perfectly. Their alternative? Sharp, tusk-like canine teeth. It's the males that have these, and they use these fangs to fight off rivals for territory and for access to females. This is a weapon that's built for close quarters combat, deep in the dense forest. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. New science is uncovering all these secrets about their behavior. I mean, these are such elusive little creatures that, for years, we got some pretty basic facts completely wrong about them. For the longest time, just because they are so incredibly shy and so hard to spot, we all just assumed they only came out at night. It was a logical guess, right? But it turns out the truth is a little more complicated. But check this out. Modern radio tracking studies, like the one we're looking at here, have totally flipped that idea on its head. This research shows they're actually active mostly during the day. That's when they're out foraging for fallen fruit and shoots, usually in these forest gaps where sunlight can get through. And then, at night, they retreat to higher, drier ground to rest. Totally different from what we thought. And oh man, these animals are just full of surprises. Get this, the African water chevrotain has this insane escape tactic. It dives into rivers and can actually walk along the riverbed to hide from predators. They also have one of the fastest reproductive cycles out there. A female can mate and become pregnant again just a few hours after giving birth. Incredible. And listen for this. If they get alarmed, they'll drum their tiny hooves on the ground. We're talking 4 to 7 times a second. It sounds like a tiny forest machine gun. Okay, so to really, truly understand the chevrotain, we have to go way, way back in time. This isn't just another small forest animal. This is a true living fossil, a relic from a much, much earlier chapter in the story of mammals. I mean, look at this timeline. Their family tree goes back at least 34 million years. And what's just remarkable to me is how little they've actually changed in all that time. They're like a living, breathing window into what the very first ruminants might have looked like. And they have this absolutely fascinating mix of traits. On one hand, you've got these really primitive features, stuff you'd expect to see in something like a pig, like having 4 fully formed toes on each foot. But then, on the other hand, they have these advanced traits that we see in modern ruminants, like a 4-chambered stomach for digesting plants and chewing cud. They're a perfect evolutionary bridge between the old and the new. All right, let's wrap this up with a modern conservation story that honestly reads like a detective novel. It really shows just how mysterious these animals still are to us. This story is all about one particular species, the silver-backed chevrotain. It's found only in Vietnam, and for a very long time, the entire scientific community was afraid it might be gone for good.
30. For 30 years, the silverback chevrotain was officially lost to science. There wasn't a single confirmed sighting since a specimen was collected way back in 1990. It had basically become a ghost.
But then, something amazing happened. Instead of just randomly searching, researchers did something smart. They went and talked to local villagers and forest rangers, the people who knew the forest inside and out. And based on their reports of sightings, they set up camera traps. And boom, they captured this incredible, first-in-a-generation image. And look, this wasn't just a lucky break. This was a brilliant combination of local, traditional knowledge and modern scientific methods. Those first few cameras, they got hundreds of photos. A wider survey confirmed it. A whole thriving population was just hiding in plain sight. What a huge win for conservation. You know, this discovery is such a powerful reminder. The silverbacked chevrotain was never really lost. It was just unseen by the scientific world. And it just makes you wonder, right? What else is out there, waiting quietly in the undergrowth to be rediscovered, if we just know how and where to look?